Greetings and welcome, friends. Mr. Wadi and mis amigos, mis compadres, mis estudiantes, está hoy. We are going over su tarea de anoche, taking a look at writing equations in sloppy intercept form. And here we go. We've got a couple of points given to us in function notation. It's not a bad idea to rewrite these. Sometimes students have a harder time with that. I mean, I suppose eventually if you could just imagine what that represents, then you're good. So I'll show you both representations nonetheless. So the input is 0. That means that's our x. The output is 7 at that time. Cameron, thank you. Here, 3, 1 is what that represents. When the input is 3, the output is 1. Now, in order to figure this out, I've got to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So that's one of the things I'll need. I'll also need the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. These things are things that you got to smuggle in your brain box, if you know what I'm saying. You gotta learn, memorize those. It's gonna be good. So let's label this x1 y1 and x2 y2. And let's find our slope, because the two things I need for the equation of a line are its slope and its y-intercept. That's like the DNA of the line, if you want to think about it like that. So y2 minus y1 is 1 minus 7 over 3 minus 0. So m equals -2, Devin, is correct. And that is our slope. We can think about that in terms of rise over run. If you want to throw a 1 in the denominator, you can, in case that helps. Sorry, what? Yeah. Let's see. The other thing I need to find is the y-intercept. Does anyone have any thoughts about y-intercept for this problem? Yeah, because this point happens to have 0 as its x coordinate. That means that that is our y-intercept. All y-intercepts happen to have 0 as their x coordinate, ladies. So b is equal to 7. The later problems are the ones where we'll have to do a little bit of algebra to figure that out for ourselves. So using the m and the b, I can write my equation y equals -2x plus 7. That is the equation that passes through those points. Let's see. Actually, let's do a little quick Desmos calculator question, Jimmy. That's function notation. I might not be able to. You might have to catch it later since you were late, but don't worry. Let's see. 0, 7. The f is the function notation. 3.3 is when we talked a lot about that, but we will continue to practice it. Let's see. I already forget. What was it? 0, 7 was one of the points. Let's put this in projector mode. I didn't do it, did I? There we go. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so there was one of our points. Our t'other point, I'm going to duplicate so it's the same color, was 3, 1. And let's just graphically see what we had going on here. So what they were asking for was, what is the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points? And we said that our equation was y equals -2x. And notice that line has the parallelity of that. And then I said plus 7, and bam, look at that. You sunk my battleship. Direct hit both of those points. Well done, friends. Well done. Also, little shout out to Ted Ed. Bam, there you go. New little riddle came out yesterday. What? I haven't watched it yet, so... TED Talks and TEDx, yeah. Yeah, I like those. I like those. So let's see. Here we go. Here, it's a little bit trickier. What is more challenging about this problem than the one before it? Comment? We don't have what? We don't have zeros. What do you mean? None of those have an x coordinate of 0? Is that what? All right, let's see. I just was copying and pasting our little instructions over here Might be too small. We'll see. But you guys got your like 4K screens and all that these days. You'll be fine. Actually, I'm not outputting at that high of a resolution, so I'm sorry. So let's see. The problem is that neither of those are a Y-intercept. And that's this special instructions here. So what do they tell us to do? Find the slope as you normally would. x1, y1, x2, y2. So let's find our sloppy slope. M equals minus, well, it'd be the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's all right. We can make mistakes, learn from our mistakes together. It's fine. You can do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. That's fine. I do know that some of the middle school teachers show it that way. So if that's what you're used to, that's 100% fine with me. So let's see. 1 minus negative 2 is the same as 1 plus 2, which is 3. 12 minus 6 is 6. And 3 sixths is the same as 1/2. Nope. There we go. 1/2. So I just found my slope. Step 1 is done. And then they say plug in your slope for m and one of your points for the coordinates for x and y in y equals max plus b. So here's step 2 coming at you. Y equals mx plus b is slope-intercept form. I'm going to plug in one of these points for x and y. Which point do you like better, this one or this one? Yeah, I like the smaller one. I mean, it's got a negative in it, so sometimes that throws me off. Question, comment? It does. 0.5 works, but it usually decimals are going to be more of a pain for us when doing algebra. So my rule of thumb is, in an algebra class, use your use fractions, reduced fractions as much as you can, if possible. And decimals are okay if the original problem had decimals, or if the it's a word problem and you're talking about, you know, I ran 3.5 miles makes a lot more sense than I ran 7/2 miles, because no one says that. But yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't mark it wrong right now, so don't you fret. So let's see. Let's plug in -2 for y. I've got my little arrows here. If you want to draw arrows, do it. If it's going to help you remember it, that's fine. So I'm plugging in what I know and solving for what I don't. So -2 is equal to 1/2 parentheses, plug in 6 for x plus b. Now I want to point out, if you chose to plug in 12 and 1, you would have had a different bit of work, but the same answer, right? We're both looking for b here. Solve for b. So I just plugged that in. Step 2 is done. Let's solve for b. So this is -2 equals 1/2 of 6 is 3. And what would I do to get b by itself? That's a +3, so we'll subtract 3 from both sides. And I'm going to flipperoo this all in one go. B is equal to -2 and -3 combined to be -5. All right, so I've got my m and my b, and now I can write my equation with your found m. And look how awesome that like little circle oval thing was. Usually I would have like scratched out some of the letters or something. It would, yeah, but I'm pretty proud of that one. There, bam. Look at that. So I'm going to plug in m and b. I'm not going to plug in x and y this time, because I want my equation to represent all combinations of x and y that will pass through those given points. All right. This, like I said, is probably the toughest type of problem you've seen in math ever. Especially, it requires some algebra. Like, that's all of our, like, what was that? Chapters, like, 1 and 2 right there. It's got slope-intercept form we've been doing. All of our skills combined in this problem. This is like the boss fight problem of things that we've done so far. It's so important. I'm gonna do 2 of this type. I'm sorry, I cut you off. What's up? Oh, man. All right, you're just challenging it. You're taunting the boss. You're pulling the aggro so your friends can like do some DPS. It's gonna be good. Yeah, he said he doesn't think it's that hard. Man. All right, So here's another problem. Let's try the same procedure. So you guys did this last night in theory. Right? Maybe. So you could do 5 minus negative 5. I'm gonna do y2 minus y1. Doesn't matter though. There's actually multiple ways. Oh, you did say it. You're right. You matched mine this time. Negative 4 minus negative 2. Yeah. Negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. It became more negative. Negative 4 minus a negative 2. That becomes plus 2, right? So that's like if I borrow $4, I pay 2 back. How much do I owe you? Yeah, I owe you $2. I'm still negative 2 there. All right, what's my m gonna equal? Minus minus cancels out. It's gonna be positive 5 because those two negatives cancel. All right, that's a simple. You'd only lose like a point for that one, and then I would have graded the rest of the problem as though you were right. So that's the way I grade. So let's see. There's my slope. Done. Step 1. Step 2. Plug your slope. Plug in your slope for m and one of your points. I'm going to pick this point. Doesn't matter though. And let's see. I'm going to draw the lines again because, right, I want to make sure we all got this. So I'm going to plug in 5 for m right there. And I'm going to plug in negative 2 for x right there. And I'm going to plug in 5 for y. 5 equals 5 parentheses negative 2 plus b. And this is the classic line. This is so classic algebra. This is what we're doing. I plug in what I know and solve for what I don't. Like if they made an action figure of Mr. Waddy, I've said the story so many times, right? And it was like some sort of like Toy Story character like Woody, and I had like a pull string action figure thing, right? Where like you pull the string in my back, and then I say, "There's a snake in my boot." One of the things that the Mr. Waddy toy would say is, "Plug in what you know and solve for what you don't," right? And that's like, and kids would have a blast doing algebra with the Mr. Waddy action figure. It'll be great. It'll be great. Let's see. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 plus bravo. How do I solve for that b? And b is equal to 15. I use all my color coordination. By the way, guys, when you're doing algebra, if you want to use lots of colors, go for it. Go for it. I love the colors. It's so great. And now I write my equation with my m and my b. So y equals 5x plus 15. Let's take a look at Desmos for this problem real quick, just to verify. Negative 2, 5 was our first point. So let's negative 2, comma 5. And then we had negative 4, negative 5. Negative 4, comma negative 5. All right, so there's my 2 points. Let's write our equation. So I'm saying that y equals 5x. Notice, does that blue line seem to match the slope of those red points? Yeah. And then we said that the y-intercept was 15. Bam! Direct hit, guys. Look how awesome that is. So that is graphically what we did algebraically. All right, that's what was going on. All right, let's do one last little problem. How long is this video going for? Too long. Oh, 14 minutes, 17 seconds. All right, quick. 26. Man, that was awesome sound effects, though. Man, can't believe that. I'm going to make that my ringtone. All right, so I want to write the equation of the line with the given values in terms of f of x. So instead of y equals mx plus b, this is going to be f of x equals mx plus b. And we had a question about this notation earlier. That's the same as y. It's just a different way of writing output. Same thing. It's just like gave it a different name. It's like, hey, Y, I'm going to call you f of x from now on, and we're going to be best buds. And it's like, that's cool. Can I have a nickname for you? And I'm like, yeah, you can. And then it thought of one that was amazing. We high-fived. So here I've got a table of values. To find the equation of a line, I need two things, slope and y-intercept. Does anyone have see a y-intercept jumping out at them right now? Let's see. The y-intercept occurs whenever the x coordinate is 0. So that means b equals 0. All right. So that's nice. I'm not going to have to do any algebra for this problem, but I will have to do slope formula. And I can pick any 2 points. I could find the slope between these 2 points. I could find the slope between these 2 points or these 2 points. That's just like a combination. I'm going to pick these 2 points for my slope. So I'm going to say m equals, you guys want me to, I'm going to label these. I'm going to call this y2 and x2 and this x1 and y1. You forgot to close the door. Would you be so kind if you could close the door? Because otherwise I'm way too loud. My poor teachers. y2 minus y1 over x2, thank you so much, minus x1. And let's see, so that's going to equal -1 over -2. What do you guys think that simplifies to be? Those negatives done cancel. That's going to equal 1/2. The other way you can figure this out is if you take a look at this. This one went up 1 for the y, and it went over 2 for the x. Rise, run, rise, run, rise, run. So you actually can kind of use patterns in your table to try to figure out slope as well sometimes. And also notice it did the same thing here. Up 1 and over 2. I'm saying over 2 because the x is the horizontal axis. All right, so let's write our equation, and we are done. Oh, I want to put my b in a box. Here we go. Y equals 1/2 x plus 0, or I could just call that y equals 1/2 x. There we go. Thanks for watching, internet friends. Adios.